It was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be a parody, but woke websites took hold of it, and now people actually believe it's true. And they're turning against Disney over the depiction of a man and woman having a child. No, not in some sort of absurd way, nothing like what you saw in biology class, just the very idea of a man and a woman deciding they'd like to have babies. And people are enraged. Today we'll tell you what the latest online mob fiasco might be, and you won't believe it. Hello and welcome back, folks. We keep you ahead of the culture curve. When Hollyweird gets even stranger, when online decides to dare go even bleaker, we are there to shine the light of truth upon it. And always with a capital T. As we dive in, click the like button, and we'll tell you how and why one Disney animated short is suddenly the focus of a bunch of really confused individuals on both sides. Look out, world. There's a new story out there, and it is catching like wildfire, but multicolored, if you will.
I was wondering we were going to talk about this. I just saw it.
We're going to talk about this. Bored Panda is a parody satire kind of website. Okay, it's like The Onion, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they've got this story out there, disgusting heterosexual breeding propaganda. Talking about the Disney animated emotional short Versa, which debuted at the film festival. People are not, listen, it's a joke, okay? It's a joke. They're not really that angry about this. They wrote an article on this panda thing, and it's supposed to be, it's at that edge. It's like the Babylon Bee, and it's pretending to be very angry because Disney would dare depict a heterosexual couple, a man and a woman, presumably a husband and a wife, who are so excited to have a baby. And you can see those little lights. It's like it's depicting that there's a soul inside there, in their heart. I don't know that's where the soul should be, but anyway, it's where the soul is located. And there's a little light, there's a little soul down in the baby. Okay? And so they made a parody article. At least that's what I believe. Jonas, Marvin, that what you guys believe this is a parody article?
I kind of saw it as parody. Yeah, it points out a lot of people that I think are making like the jokes about it on social media.
Andy, get in here and talk with us about it, because guess what, guys? Guess what? Some people thought it was real, and they ran with it. Are you ready for this?
No.
Yeah. Nina out there at Nocturnologist, I guess, post this. And what you got to understand is, I don't know if Nina is posting this in a humorous way. I don't know if this account is posting it, in a jokey kind of thing. I don't know. But I can tell you something about it. It says, keep this disgusting heterosexual breeding propaganda and repost the Hollywood handle. Now, hang with me, folks, because what this means is the Hollywood handle ran this as if it's real from a parody website. Everybody with me on that? So the Hollywood handle runs it from a parody website. That it's disgusting that you would dare show a heterosexual couple pregnant and have little lights that show, and how dare they? And then Nina takes this article that has now been carried as if it's a real article by someone who apparently believes it is. Nina posts it and endorses the message that should be parody. 400,000 likes. Ben says, look, I have nothing against heterosexual people, but why are they always trying to push their agendas on us? I mean, listen, we could keep going through this, and to some degree, people are in on the joke. Some people are. This has been going on for weeks now, and we've not touched it. But I could bring up, I don't want to embarrass people. I don't want to bring up account after account after account. What I want to tell you is that enough people now actually believed the parody, and they endorsed it. Like, they found enough people online. They tried to make a parody of it. This is how humans are recreated. I don't know if you know this. This is how offspring come into the world. They tried to make this, just ridiculous point, and hundreds of thousands of morons are agreeing with it and are slamming Disney now. It's a complete and total turnaround. they did not assess how crazy, how zany the wokies are. Andy, you're on here. Welcome aboard, sir. Can you believe it? I mean, at this point, I guess we should believe it, but can you believe that there are people raging as if this is a real article, and they are raging in favor of the idea that Disney should drop heterosexual relationships because it's propaganda against modern audiences?
Yeah, the other day, there was someone was sharing this little video viral clip. There's a girl out there. She does these very, very convincing parody videos. That one was that her son identifies as a cat, and she's suing the school system for not catering to her son. And it's a very, very convincing parody video because it's so close to real life. It gets to the point where even though we recognize this stuff is so absurd, it could be real, and it's probably likely real. There's somebody out there that's actually buying into this. It's like that. I mean, every single one of us is here because of the combination of male parts and female parts, whether it's like in vitro or whatever. They had their origin in one of the two choices. And the fact that we've gotten so far to where people, it's the absurdity that like you can get people to object to their own lives. Like it's somehow like a terrible thing that you were born. Like I think this is probably the worst thing since those people that were making the big fuss about my parents never asked for my permission to be born, so I should be able to sue my parents. Like, well, how do you do that exactly? There's no logic here. This is all emotionally driven, and they're so used to being steered into a given direction. It's, you know, they're carrying their torches and pitchforks, and somebody just points and they just go. They don't even stop and think about it.
And the funny thing is, I think in the beginning, this worked out, well for the people who are trying to do the satire, because, they were in on the joke. The problem is that after days of this kind of trending and them being in on the joke, there were enough people who didn't get the joke and thought, oh, I'm just, I'm supposed to be angry about this. I'm going to be angry about this. And they actually got in. We got to move that down, don't we? They got in on this, and they didn't realize, and they became infuriated. They're enraged. Jonas, this is it's delicious to me. And there are going to be those who watch this and say, bro got fooled, or, these guys actually believe they were real. No, folks, we're telling you, there's maybe the majority are still in the joke. There's a large percentage who don't joke, and they're jumping in the mob.
I'll throw this in here. The actual piece, and I forget the name of the actual short film. It's produced by Malcolm. It's directed by Malcolm Pierce, who was the guy in charge of the Vancouver animation studio that did a lot of the work on Moana 2. And so this is his short, and it's I think he and his wife lost a child. So this is something that if they were focused on the actual story here, and I actually really recommend reading some of the pieces. I'm not sure if it was the Variety one or the Holiday Reporter one. It's actually quite a touching story when you realize what he's talking about. That being said, they generally don't talk about breeding of any kind, even if it is abstract in Disney stuff. That's something they've avoided talking about for a very long time. People generally don't have a kid in the middle of a film because Disney has avoided those topics.
But now, wait a minute. So, Jonas, you're telling me that this is actually a meaningful animated short, and that the story of it, which is about overcoming the loss of a child, of a pregnancy. You're telling me that this story that is so meaningful, so deep, and a great thing for Disney to do, that it was hijacked by a parody satire kind of thing. It trended, and then on top of that, to add insult to injury, then enough people started believing it and becoming enraged and joining. It just goes to show that there's no limit to which people, it reminds me of What is a Woman, the Matt Walsh mockumentary, right? Mm-hmm. It reminds me of at the end where he finally just has to say, that's enough. We can't go any further. Because they set up this thing at the end of that documentary where it was people were supposed to realize, oh, this is fake. And they didn't, and they wouldn't stop, and they kept going beyond and beyond and beyond until they finally, the production crew had to be like, listen, that's it. There's no limit to where you guys will come to your senses.
Right.
And this is one of those cases again.
Yeah, and looking at this, this is the danger of having actual commentary in art. Now, I haven't seen this. It may be good. It may be bad. I really don't know how it's going to turn out. But someone poured their heart and soul into making this and is making a commentary about a very personal story. Disney is in dangerous territory when they do that with shorts. You know, it's been an era where Disney has trended towards giving shorts to people that are talking about things that very much matter to them, and then giving them a large production after the fact if it goes well. When artists actually make art, generally it's better. I think that Disney, though, is firmly in the corporate product place right now. So I feel for this guy who has made this short film, and I hope that he has exercised his grief here, because having a bunch of people calling it gender propaganda or something ridiculous like that, even if it started as a joke, we all know there's plenty of nut jobs out there that are actually against breeders because they want to have some over thought out moral stance here. So I wish everyone some peace in all of this, and maybe some therapy for the maybe from different therapists than the ones they're probably already seeing.
I think you're exactly right, folks. Always check to see if it's real, if it's unreal, and if it's something that just seems a little bit too bizarre, don't jump in there. Don't join the fight against it for and just say, you know what, I'm going to go look at the original instead.
In this crazy day and age, it's really I've been fooled by disgusting films posts and other, these parody sites. And I mean, even there's times where I'll have to double take a Babylon Bee article at first. Like, wait, what? That was a Babylon Bee? Oh, okay, yeah. Because this stuff is so believable, and I love the example you brought up of what is a woman, because that's exactly it. Like, these folks will jump on this, and let's be real, it's not so much about the breeder aspect, because they associate that with Christianity. That's what it's all about. The traditional family, Christian. It's an attack on that aspect of it, and that's why they have to be against it, right? At least it used to be. It didn't matter if you were a Christian or this or that or the other. Most people had similar family values, right? Like, most people could agree on what a family traditionally should be. Now, not everybody's saying that that's what a family has to be, right? But even Disney knew that for years and years and years and years, and that's why they stayed as popular and they were as solid as they were all these years, especially in places like the United States where family values were, a big deal for a long time. And that's where I think people forgot what the FCC was all about through the Jimmy Kimmel stuff too, right? Because that's kind of what it's all about, is to make sure that the things that are on broadcast TV are not going to corrupt and not going to, be something that you have to worry about. And that's why people made such a big deal out of the Janet Jackson incident, for instance, because it is true. You have a lot of families watching the Super Bowl. You have a lot of families watching these specific movies and events and other things on television, and you need to be able to pay attention to that. Now, normally something like this is something that I would say is fine, and most of us would, because it is what it is. Now, but I would also say on the other end of this, I don't necessarily think this is a short that a kid should be watching. I think this is a very adult subject, just like all those other subjects that we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, especially if a kid is lost. If a kid's been in a family where this happened.
Yes, for many reasons, that this is like one of those things where, yes, I can see this as Disney contributing to a situation where they're doing something artsy-fartsy, or however you want to put it, as opposed to doing something that's actually meant for kids. Right, or families.
So the Spark short series, and I know we're going long on this segment, but the Spark short series where, they have a one about bunnies that is actually about depression, or there's a one that's about autism and the separation of autism, and these intentions of telling stories that quote unquote matter, but universality is lost sometimes when you do this. So it's like John Lasseter guiding Pete Docter in doing the first 8 minutes of Up. So if artificial intelligence will be actually considerable when it can look at the first 8 minutes of Up and understand deeply why people weep at the first 8 minutes of Up. But everything that goes on there is not informative. Everything that goes on there is told in pastiche. Is that the right word? So that you're saying something that the grown folks can be depressed by, but you're not showing a pregnant belly and then no child.
Bottom line here, folks, the joke's not far enough if websites start running it as if it's real, and then if people start joining in and they don't understand, they think, oh yeah, it's just the cause of the day. Marvin, final thought on this one.
I just think it's really sad that you can't tell, like, no one can tell what's parody anymore because real life has become parody. And I think that really speaks a lot to where we are, I guess, as a country, as a people, as a society. Yeah, it's because for me, like, I was looking at this as well, and I could not for the life of me figure out who was being, ironic and who was being serious as a heart attack, because I'm sure there were both involved in that conversation.
Right. And the defenders will say, oh no, we always knew it was a joke, bro. You just made this up. You're just too dumb to realize. Folks, it caught up a lot of people on both sides, and that means it's not that far from reality. We must bid adieu for now, but folks, I encourage you, if you enjoyed this kind of video, well, we have plenty more and more on the way every single day. We do it for you. Check out the WDW Pro Channel and go click on videos. You can see the most recent ones and enjoy all the stuff we're talking about, and hopefully give us some feedback, because we would love to cater what we're doing for you. You are the consumer. You are our valued guest. It's how entertainment companies once upon a time treated the people who bought their stuff, and we're still doing it here. Folks, on the way out the door, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say goodbye, we always say this because we think you indeed are special and matter. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.